You just mentioned you came over from Europe. I think just doing some research on you, I saw that,
Mhm.
you spent a lot of your childhood and early life there, and you were actually studying classical music back in the
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if you remember, what kind of drew you away from the classical studies and brought you into the electronic world.
Uh, Specifically, so my sister is a pianist, professional now. She's a professor for piano, in southern Germany and Nuremberg, I think, university. So like I grew around that. Her, she's 11 years older, so she's been practicing as long as I remember. So I wanted to play an instrument as well, and so I started playing or I wanted to play the double bass, but I was too small. So I played the cello, and I was really, really talented without much work. I just took it and I played, and it was really good. And so I was just like kind of a lazy. I was lazy because I didn't want to work because it was so easy. This just came so easy to me. But at some point, I thought about actually doing it professionally. I played in an orchestra. Some guy actually wrote like a piece for cello and orchestra for me. I don't know actually where if I have a copy of it somewhere, but um, and then like sad story, my mother died when I was 15, and I was like I could not play the cello anymore because it just made me sad because I was thinking about her. And around about the same time, I got into electronic music, and then uh, yeah, that was like that became my family kind of, like that was my friends, and the rave was started to be my family, and it kind of it replaced it, replaced the classical stuff, and kind of like childhood, gone, and then I started going to raves and started DJing at the same time. Like when I was 15, we had like a little room in a church, actually, that they just gave us, and so we did graffiti there, and we bought decks like for me and three friends bought decks and just started to throw parties, and then the church threw us out because of weed and joint butts in there, and then we didn't have no more room after like a year and a half or something. And yeah, I mean, I've been to clubs since I was 15. I just had a fake ID, and I went to all the belt like clubs in Brussels. That's where I grew up, and and they were really, really dope clubs. Actually, it's a small country. It's a really small country. It's only 10 million people, but Fuse Club in particular in Brussels is one of the best, I think, worldwide. One of the best clubs in terms of just the booking that they have there is insane. Like I saw all the greats, and that was the reason why I got into mixing myself, because I saw Jeff Mills there and Dave Clark, and Ben Sims and Green Velvet and Sven Fed and Felix the House Cat and basically everybody who influenced me from Detroit, Chicago, London, and otherwise Germany, Berlin. Yeah, and then my sister was studying in Berlin piano, and at the same time, and so I went to visit Berlin, and I went raving there and did graffiti there and stuff like that, and it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah,
So that was the replace. That was kind of how I got into it.
yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. And obviously, moving to Berlin will that'll help push that forward. And I think
Yeah,
you were there for a couple of years and you built this
yeah.
project,
16 years.
16.
16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, I think from about, I don't know exactly when it started, but around 2005, maybe you started Robosonic.
Correct.
And,
Yeah, yeah.
you were doing that project for a couple of years before, going off on
hmm
your own. I
Yeah,
was wondering if you could kind of tell us a little bit about that and how that initial project kind of formed, where you decided to go now.
sure. Robosonic, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that Robosonic was a duo. It still exists but it's just one person now. It's my former partner, Cord. If you listen to that, one love. He's still doing it. And it started because a friend introduced us, and we clicked immediately and started making like bootlegs, mashups. That's how we started, was with mashups. So like he had a promo pool. He was in the promo pool for like hip hop acapellas or hip hop records of vinyl. So he got them like 2-3 months before release, and then we just would rip the acapellas from those vinyls and put them on electronic beats, and we would create this like interesting fusion of like electronic hip hop mashups, house music and techno music, whatnot, and would press that on vinyl and release sometimes even before those hip hop records dropped, or at the same time. So there would be like the official release and then our bootleg, that you could buy. And yeah, back then there was no real we played vinyl, so that was the market. And at some point, and we started doing that under the name Robosonic the Hedgehog. And at some like the Sega thing, and our like logo was Sonic the Hedgehog with Japanese writing and whatnot. It was kind of we made this alias that was like from Japan and whatnot. And then we decided to do it officially, and the name Robosonic comes from me, Sacha Robotti, Robo, and him. He's Sonic in German. That means Schall is his DJ name, which means sound, Sonic. So it's like Robosonic. And at some point after those mashups, like maybe 2006, we started, 2007 or something, we started doing stuff that's original and under our own name. And that's how Robosonic started. And then we played a lot in Berlin at like underground parties and illegal parties and, everything we could get our hands on, basically. Like a few times a week sometimes, and that's how we got known in the city. And I think 2012 or so, we had a few like beatport hits on off recordings. Now that off recordings does like cool techno, but back then it did house records with big samples, basically, if you can describe it that way. Hits. So it was a certain time, like 2012, where there was just like 5 off recordings records in the top 10 on Beatport, for a year or something. It was crazy. And so we were there. We were like one of the first on that label to get that kind of fame. It was roughly at the same time that Claptone started off, and then like a few records after us, it was Purple Disco Machine, and like a few records before us, it was like Adana Twins, and it was like a few acts from Berlin that were really popping off with that kind of sound that was then coined deep house. You know, journalists were like, this is deep house. For me, that's not deep house, but for me, deep house is like from the 90s. And, you know, gospel and Carrie Chandler, that's deep house. But so that's how we were coined. And because of those hits on Beatport, we had a career for a few years. And that's how we then toured the world, basically. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's crazy. And it's funny. I mean, I think watching a little bit of that explosion out of Berlin, that's, you know, a place people generally associate with techno, and, you know, to see other artists just get grouped, like to call Purple Disco Machine like deep house is crazy, but obviously, you know, people didn't even know. Well, coming off of that, obviously, you know, toured for a little while, and then, you know, you start your solo project, and I think it's easy now, you know, for people to look at you and just think like, oh, a successful touring DJ has his own label. But obviously there's so much that goes into it and so many years of work. You know, you first put out Tingly Trumpets was like the original track. And I think the first kind of 2 years of releasing, you had like a really high output, you know, just a lot of music, but it takes some time to break through. And it felt like that first Dirty Bird EP with Kill Frenzy was really kind of the opening up of you to the world. Did you have a feeling during that time of just, you know, what it was like trying to find your place kind of more in the American scene? And then how did that EP come about?
Actually, my first Dirty Bird track is one that I don't think it's online on Beatport anymore because of a sample, but it was called The Major, featuring DJ Rush vocals that I sampled from a vinyl, and it came out that I bought in like a few years before, and it came out I think on 2011 or 2012. I can send you that. It's actually I really dig it. It's really dope.
I would love that. That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, I just don't think it's being sold anymore. And because of that track, and Kill Frenzy had his Booty Clap record on that same compilation, and then we connected, and because of that we made a record after, and that was like the Go to the Mo was in my the track that we made together that came out on Dirty Bird, and then there was another one called I Like It that came out on Food Records, which is Shadow Child's label. And then that's how, like, I mean, I knew the label already for years before. I've been, you know, friends with some of the people on it, like Christian, and I was a huge fan of Justin Martin, and Von Stroke, obviously, and Worthy, and, you know, all those cats that were there, cats and dogs, that were there first, you know, when the label was, in my opinion, putting out the most interesting sound to date, was at the beginning, the first like 5 years, I think. And then, you know, obviously times change, and, you know, it grew bigger and priorities changed and whatnot. But yeah, that was kind of, you were asking how the record with Kill Frenzy came about. I went to Brussels, met up with him, and we went to his house, and we made 2 tracks, and then we signed it pretty much in Belgium.
Yeah. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Well, you know, you have your own brand yourself now, and 2012
or 2013. So almost 8-9 years ago.
Wow. Spent some time, man. Well, I wanted to ask about Sloth Acid. Obviously, you know, your brand and label. What pushed you to kind of create this brand for yourself? And I just have to ask, you know, the branding is like pretty iconic in the scene now. You know, how'd you come up with that idea? And it's obviously very playful and fun.
Yeah, thank you. Cool. The idea, so I always liked sloths, I had a ex-girlfriend like a few girlfriends ago, um, who was really into sloths, and so I bought her a WWF Adopt a Sloth, whatever. And since then, I've just been like into sloths kind of thing. So that was like, I don't know, 7 years ago. And I came to the States, and with a suitcase and my computer, and no shows, no, one show. And I saw the scene in LA, and I was like, okay, I'm not really into bottle service clubs. And I want to play longer than an hour. So I threw in my own party, and it was me and another guy, Joe. He's not doing parties anymore, but great friend. What's up, Joe? And I don't think he's looking, but he's watching, but whatever. And we call it Comfort Zone. And I thought, what could be a cool logo or branding for it? You know, something comfortable, something zony, something in the zone. So I thought maybe the sloth face, could be a cool logo. And so my buddy Michael from Portland, he lives in Portland now. He designed my Robotti logo, which was like a robot face, and I just asked him if he could a schematical sloth face, and that's the thing that he came up with, and we used that for the parties and kind of started branding. I started branding things with the sloth face, and people reacted really well to it, and then I kind of just wrote on that, you know, like I photoshopped my face next to a sloth face, and we look the same. And just, you know, funny sloth stuff was just something that I saw people connect with really well. And I always kind of try to do it less on a cute way, you know, because sloths are like so cute, but they're also kind of creepy, you know, and kind of weird. And so like I'm trying to play on that, you know, that they're like slow and endangered and kind of weird. They do their own thing at their own pace, and you know, instead of, you know, and I like to see that as a good like counterpoint. I don't know how you say that. Like a opposite to fast-paced society, and you know, everybody's like in their elbow, like better, but, you know, the sloths just do whatever they, you know, they're just in their zone and in their thing. They do that, and so that's why I like that analogy, and that's also kind of what I'm trying to do at my own pace, and that's how that started. And then I just figured I'd put my logo everywhere, on everything that can be branded, on t-shirts, on hats, on pasties, on my records, on stickers, you know. And I think it's a really great logo. Like, I think the logo, Sloth Acid logo, is one of the best logos that I've seen. Sorry, I have to represent, but I think it's just Michael really nailed it. It's really amazing. It was literally the first thing that he sent, and it was just like, ta-da! And I was like, wow, this is great. Because it kind of looks like friendly, a little trippy.
It's a little mischievous.
You know, a little mischievous, but also cool. Like, it looks cool. Like, it's a cool logo.
As you said, it's a nice representation of your music. Yeah, just as somebody who has been in the scene for a long time now, and you've had the opportunity to, you know, live in a lot of different places, I'm just wondering, you know, what do you think you've seen kind of change over the years, and do you feel like the underground scene is poised for success going forward?
What do you mean?
In terms of which both? Like,
what do you mean, like the underground success and success? What do you mean?
Well,
like,
I think, you know, sometimes I've talked to people who have just discussed, who are, you know, underground artists who have discussed kind of when the whole EDM boom happened, you know, it was a big awakening for them, and it was really weird and it was hard. And you're watching these people kind of claim, you know, it turned this whole thing into a business, and, you know, electronic music became pop music. And it seems
in the
like
States,
in the States, yeah. And you know, it feels like,
because we had the Love Parade in Berlin in the 90s, you know.
Yeah,
that was like 1 million people, and that was also like, if you will, that's like a, you know, that's like a commercial event. It turned into that, you know, instead of as a peaceful thing. But you're talking like specifically about the
yeah, in the US, you know, do you feel like we're kind of heading in a direction that's going to help continue the growth of, you know, the scene and encourage people to, you know, new and different artists to join it?
Yeah, definitely. The more popular it gets, the more people want to do it, I think. In terms of underground, I don't know if that exists anymore. What is underground? Is it an attitude? If it's an attitude, yeah, probably still exists. But if it's just a question of just like not being on the radar of anything and anyone, is that underground? Is that being unsuccessful? Is that underground? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely up to
putting
definition.
It up. I'm just like throwing it out there, you know. So like, I would not consider myself underground anymore. I make money with it, you know. So if anybody, so underground, you know, I'm watching debates of people like Eric Prydz and whatever, Dave Clark, and there's beefs of people saying like, you're commercial, you're not commercial, you're this guy, you're that guy, you too. And I'm just like, it's underground is also just marketing.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's up for debate. If Berghain is underground, maybe Berlin, but is it?
Yeah, it seems like everybody knows about it. So how could
I
it
don't
be?
know. What is underground? When you have social media, when you have cameras, when you can like put a sticker on the phone and then nobody can film in the club. But if you pay $50 for an event and the DJ gets like 5,000, is that underground? I don't know. You know, so for me, it's like a debate that I don't know if I can really take part in it. I mean, I can take part in it, but you want to do free parties and not make any money? That's underground. Maybe.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But in terms of the popularization of music, yeah, I'm sure more and more people will want to do that, because music is just, you know, when I was 15, I saw Jeff Mills and I saw him DJ, and I was like, wow, you know, this is amazing. I want to do that. You know, and then I looked, I was like, you know, he was mixing, and I was like here, like looking at all the records that he was playing, you know, and he had stuff taped on top and stuff, you know. And then I went to the record store and I was like, you know, I want this. Do you know what records Jeff Mills played? You know, now you Shazam it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just like times have completely changed, you know. There's these guys, you know, Kevin Saunderson and the Detroit, you know, Derek May and Juan Atkins, they started when there was no infrastructure for techno, you know, they called it techno. There was no infrastructure. That was underground.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's
know?
funny because like it's like Kevin Saunderson is one of the most like OGs there is, but like we just had him a couple of weeks ago opening up for Chris Lake, and I mean, you know, these worlds intersect, and Chris like really wanted somebody like that on the show.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's great. It's great that artists now are still supporting that, but I think what you said is on point.
I saw that. I saw that as well, you know, and I love both guys, you know, and I really respect either. But yeah, I saw that booking and I was like, you know, but Kevin Saunders is still kills it, you know, 40 years after. Who can say that from a career like that, you know? And his son and his sons are now making music. And, you know, like I made music with Dante's, and I released a record of the Saunders brothers featuring their mom, you know, on Sloth Acid. And so in that way, I think it's really smart. Kevin Saunders is very smart because he is, you know, he still has a career. He's giving his fire to his kids, influencing more people, and he's adapting. He's, you know, he's opening for Chris Lake. Maybe he reached some people who didn't know who he was because they only listened to Chris Lake, and they've been listening to Chris Lake for a year and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's like, so it's all cycles, and it's all, I don't know. I was very, very critical a few years ago to all this, and I think I chilled out quite a lot because it doesn't really not that it doesn't matter what I think, but like I can't change, you know, economy, capitalism. That's like, so what is underground anymore? Is Damien Lazarus underground?
You know? Definitely not. I mean, no, it's
but the music
really
that he makes is like still the same thing.
Yeah.
And him that they made, you know, 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the times are different, you know? So I don't know.
No, I think that's a great answer, and I really appreciate kind of the way you laid that out. I mean, just because you mentioned him, it's like, yeah, we just, you know, Diplo, somebody who's been doing everything forever, and now he's like, I'm gonna make house music.
Whatever is popular.
and you know, he just did
not to diss him or anything. It's just very smart like that. Yeah, it's very smart. Yeah.
No, he definitely reads the trends. I mean, the dude put out a country music album last year, but
genius.
I wanted to ask about some of your recent music. Three of your recent tracks, Fuck the Pain Away, Power of Choice, and Motor City Angel. They were really cool. Really, I felt like they were a little different than maybe what I would normally think of as like a Sacha Robotti track. Are you kind of trying to go in a different direction, or were you just feeling the need to experiment a little?
No, I just do whatever I want to do right now in the moment. And so I've been doing all kinds of different stuff. But maybe you've been associating me with the Dirty Bird things, but you know, I play techno, I play disco, I produce either. When it's about collabs, those two, the last two tracks you mentioned are collabs with Dante's Sanderson. Those were his idea. Like he sent a, you know, like, I don't know what it was, like 2-3 minutes of a track, and then I kind of finished it. That's how we worked. So it was like his DNA, and I gave my DNA to it and arranged it, kind of. And that's how those two tracks happen. So when I do collabs, it's a lot. It's not me entirely, you know. It's me and another guy. Same with Sion. I did. I think I produced like 5 different ones with him now, and one is actually coming out. I don't think I would produce that on my own. I would have produced that on my own. So yeah, that's just for collabs. And like I'm for instance, I'm featuring vocals on a record with JTJ that's coming out soon. I don't know when you're airing this interview, but it's Friday the 24th of September. So that's also a little different, and it's just me on the vocals. And yeah, I don't know. I don't believe in. I get really bored super quick when I hear a DJ play like 5 of the same genre tracks, but like whatever, 5 is not enough. That, you know, like let's say an hour of the same kind of build up, blah blah, drop, okay, same thing, and another, you know. And for me, it's like I like DJs like Tiga or, you know, or Eats Everything. You can go from like techno to disco to tech house to that, and I feel I'm like that kind of DJ myself, because I don't play one genre. I play whatever I think is dope. And that's the same thing with productions. I make whatever I think what I like to do in that moment. And so yeah, I'm working on some disco tracks that have been going off, but I play them with techno, you know, that I also made myself. And regarding Fuck the Pain Away, so that was, I had made a version of that that I premiered at Desert Hearts Festival 2018. And that was the original Peaches vocal on a beat of mine. And I've been trying to clear that for like 3 years, but we finally got the no on the clearing. And so we decided to, so I was like, okay, I was a little bummed, but I kind of expected that because it's, you know, some artists are just very protective of their music, of their own samples, which I get, you know, I get it. And so a friend of mine was just, we were just having fun in the studio, and she is a baby girl, and she loved that song, and she just like did a one take kind of I think it was like 1 or 2 takes on my beat, and it sounded like Peaches. And I was like, damn, okay, cool, we can make this as a cover.
Yeah,
you know. And so we made it like it's an official cover, it's legal, nothing is, you know, it's in accordance with the publishing, her publishing, and that's how Thrive Music then made it happen, you know, for us. It's a funny story, and I'm just glad it's coming out, you know. Like, I would rather have had Peaches original vocals, obviously, but because I'm a huge fan, you know, of hers, of her work. But you know, that's just how it went, and it still came out. It came out as a cover, and I can play it. People can listen to it, you know. Pretty much.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome, man, and it was a really, really great track, and I love hearing the stories behind stuff like that. I mean, I feel like there's always a track like one of the, you know, Chris Lake has been playing out this like California Dreamin' edit, and everybody's like begging for it, and it's been, you know, it's like, is it going to get cleared? Or, you know, we never know. That's all I got, but I wanted to say thank you for taking the time to chat today, and this was really awesome, man. I mean, the stories you have are incredible, and can't wait to put this one out, and we'll be keeping ears to the ground for that drop on Friday. You said new track.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll see you back in New York real soon.
Okay, me too.
Awesome. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Bye.